Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feedback bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast.
Well, she sneaks around the world from Vienna to Carolina. She's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize. She'll take you for a ride on a slow boat to China. Tell me, where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego?
Steal their soul in South Korea, making money comes right on.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie.
And I'm Sweetie.
Bonus ep time! Bonus ep!
It goes around the world from sweeties to the sweeties.
The sticky finger filcher from Berlin to Belize.
I don't know the word, so I'm just inserting sweeties.
Tell me where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Carmen Sandiego, you guys.
What? God, I love this game show. Okay, so we've done like a couple game shows.
We loved game shows.
We love game shows.
Everyone loved game shows.
Couple on like regular TV. We've done a couple Nickelodeon ones right now.
Mm-hmm.
This time, guys, it's the good old PBS. What? PBS is still where it's at, but like when we were kids, like little kids, it was basically like the only channel we were allowed to watch.
No, that's not true. We watched Nickelodeon.
No, as like
Junior.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like that PBS was like the educational.
They had a solid programming.
Yeah, they had a solid programming, but it was
What
also
station was Mr. Rogers on?
PBS.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had like all the educational.
What station
shit.
was Reading Rainbow on?
PBS.
When?
Yeah, I want to do Reading Rainbow. Can we do Reading Rainbow if it's not a game show? It was
We
to me.
don't-
I love
it's-
books.
Isn't a rule. The bonus apps aren't
Yeah,
about
you're right.
game shows.
You're right.
It's about TV shows. So
That's
yes,
right. I'm
we
sorry.
can do it. We can do
I'm
it.
sorry. I
okay?
don't know my own podcast. But yeah. So Carmen Sandiego, guys. Fun fact: this game show was created because in what was that stat you had? 80 something.
I don't remember.
They did a survey and they figured out that no one in the United States knew anything about geometry. Geometry. Probably geometry too. Geography.
Well, it was like 1 out of 11 people don't know where the Pacific Ocean is.
Yo, I bet that's even higher now.
Yeah, which is
Embarrassing.
still like a thing, right? Geography is nobody's strong suit, apparently.
Right. It's just tough. It's confusing. It's a lot of things to remember. It's just kind of like memorization. And it's like
Yeah.
if you're good at memorization, you're pretty good at geography. I gotta say, that's like a trivia. I'm good at pub trivia. Like I'm good at it. Hello. I was on Jeopardy. But
I lost, but I was on it.
I'm still gonna say I was on it.
I thought that.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Don't drag that up.
I'm not. I felt bad immediately.
You should. Anyway, so I was just going to say that, I have my certain categories in trivia that I'm really good at. Geography, not one of them. Not one of them. It's not my good category.
I am sometimes. For a brief. Remember that computer? It was like an internet game where it was like click on this country. It was basically the end of Carmen Sandiego. Where it was like
I play
and
that
then,
still.
Right. So
With the
that really
pins?
helped me.
Yeah.
That really helped me hone my geography skills. But yeah, so generally they created this. National Geographic created this, which is why the prizes are always like a subscription to National Nat Geo.
Go
World.
into the prizes later because I wrote them all down
Me
per
too, me
usual.
too. But yeah, so that's why it was created. So the concept is like a New York City kind of. What era would you say?
Yeah. Did I write this down? Okay. So it's called ACME is the agency, right? So like, what is that? You know what it reminded me of? Like
Roger
Who
Rabbit.
Framed Roger
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Well, it's-
what is that?
Yeah.
20s? I think it's 20s.
What's Dick Tracy?
Zoot suits. I'm sorry. I just love like dropping that whenever we talk
And
about 20s.
I don't know if there's a
I think it's
specified era or not or whatever, but
I think it's between the 20s and the 30s.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
All right.
throw that out.
all right. So we got a crime investigating team, basically, right? So you got your 3 contestants who are called gumshoes. You've got the chief, who is the chief. She is a marvelous woman whose name I forgot to write down.
We will mention it. And then you have Greg Lee.
And Greg
Lee. So Greg Lee is the host, and I mean, I don't know if he's just like another like detective in this whole like unit or whatever.
She said she calls him like the head lead investigator or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's the host. Blah, blah, blah. So let's just start from the beginning.
Yes.
So the whole thing starts out, and the other big thing about the show, if you don't remember, is that all of the music is done by Rockapella, who is acapella. Acapella. Duh. I'm like, what's the word? Acapella. Pitch Perfect. Like, was acapella big in 90s? I don't know. Was it?
In colleges. So they started like they were like in a college band, basically, is how they started, and they were like, they got invited on some show, and then they got Carmen Sandiego.
Okay, so as a little kid, I obviously had no idea what acapella music was, and I thought they were like the coolest thing. I was like, Rockapella, whoa, can I get your CD? Just kidding. So the whole music is done by then, so that's like the intro, the song we sang in the beginning. Where in the world thinking, is Carmen Sandiego?
The thinking music.
Yeah, they literally do all, like, they don't have to hire sound guys. It's like literally these
I feel
these
like
gentlemen.
we could be like a modern day Sweetie
Capella
Capella group, because we basically do that same thing.
Do it, Sweetie Capella. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, so every show starts out, you have your 3 gumshoes, and in this case, it was quite a diverse set of gumshoes. We had a little Asian American boy, a black girl, and then was that kid white?
Hispanic.
He was Hispanic. Sweet. And like we just spit everywhere. We always talk about how, like, you know, as we're trying so hard to diversify, like in this day and age, and which is important. It's so great. And like this inclusion is like a huge thing, right? But when you watch these 90s shows, you're like, damn, we were diverse then.
Right. Which I feel, and is my personal theory, is why I feel like we never had a problem with like racism.
Yeah.
I mean, like us specifically, most people I know in the same boat, I'm sure, but all the characters I was seeing on TV were different races, and so it was never weird to me. The chief is this awesome black woman who is so cool and badass, and she's the boss. Yep. And that just, I was never like, oh, this is weird. I was like,
that's weird. Why would she be the boss?
Right,
she's a woman.
Never. I was just like, she is the best. Yeah. I loved her.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like what all children's programming in the 90s was like. So like that's why we turned into these like amazing
people.
Amazing people. Anyway, so every show starts with the chief giving like an explanation, and it's always like some landmark that gets stolen, right? Like some like
I think so. I was trying to remember the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a criminal that does it. So Carmen Sandiego is like the larger, like head honcho of this crime ring, and she always has these little goons like running around doing like her dirty work. Mm-hmm. So it always starts with the chief like telling this story, and it's like, your mission is to get back. So in this case, the Empire State Building was stolen by the villain called Eartha Brute. And so all the villains are done, and all that kind of stuff is done with cartoons. Pretty bad cartoons too. It looks like the beginning stages of computer animation, like that, like I would have made in like 7th grade tech class though. I mean, it's not good. No. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not great. So we learn about that, and then the first round are just basically some question rounds, and they'll pepper in some, like, you have to listen to Rockapella sing things, and I guess the clues are in that song. I didn't remember that when we watched this last night. I was like, I don't remember that being a crucial part. Like Rockapella's song is part of the clues. Yeah. I don't know. So they'll get clues in some way, and then Greg asks them questions, and their goal is to get money, which I'm like, what is the money for? you know what I mean? Like usually in game shows, you get a balance that is like towards something. I don't know. So
Acme crime bucks.
It should have just been points. Yeah. Like I don't know if we needed Acme crime bucks. I don't know if that was important. But so the point is, whoever the top 2 people with the most crime bucks at the end of that first round move on to the next round, and then after that, the one person moves on.
Yeah.
So it's that.
Yeah.
So this first round is just a pretty basic like question and answer kind of round.
All geography questions, and he has like a little TV, and then like there's like the 3 little boxes, and they ring in and whatever. And so they ask you these geography questions, and it's like Eartha Brute is at each of these locations, so it's like basically you're like tracking her. The questions are really hard, and like we were stumped.
I was like, how do they know these? I was so suspicious. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, there was maybe one where I was like, that's easy, but all the other ones I was like,
how would a kid
I don't
know that?
know. Yeah,
No
so it was
clue.
like some like sort of what's like the active volcano on one of these 3 like Caribbean islands. Didn't know that. Never heard of it in my entire
What?
life. Like I'm 35 and I have not heard of this fucking volcano. This was the easy one. Where is the Mall of America? Actually,
But not
all the
really.
kids got that wrong.
No, because even I was like, it's in I thought it was in like St. Paul or something.
If that time the Mall of America was quite new or something. When did
I
it
think
come
so.
out?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it and being like, "There's a roller coaster in the mall."
Yeah. 7 Yankee stadiums
that was-
can fit into the Mall of
I know,
America.
it's
Did you
insane.
hear? They
It's
give some
insane.
really cool stats.
For the most part, the questions are super hard. So, end of the first round, someone gets eliminated. Unfortunately, it's the girl, which I was pretty pissed
that was a
about.
bummer.
The 2 guys move on, and this next round is my favorite, where there's all these like little boxes, and this was a big kind of like game show effect in the 90s, I think, where you have the like spinning box that you like flip over. So there's all these locations, and what the goal here is to turn over in the correct order what's the first? The clue? No. What's the order? The blank, the warrant.
No, warrant, loot, crook.
I think it's loot, warrant, crook.
No. You have to get the warrant first, right?
What is the loot?
The loot is what they stole.
Yeah, so you need.
sounds
they
like
need to
loot.
be stolen. We need to find out that they stole something first. So the loot, you get the warrant to prove they
that
did
does
it.
sound right, but just from police procedure, I would feel like you would need a warrant first. Anyway,
So they do that, and
Yeah.
it's
a
kind
memory
of
game.
bullshit because it is a memory game. And if somebody goes, and the one that we watched, the first kid went, who's actually kind of in second place when going into this. The first one he turned over was the warrant, which like you can't have that one. The next one he turned over was the criminal or whatever. So that's the last thing he's supposed to get. So we already found those 2 pieces of the puzzle. So then because they weren't in the right order, had to kind of take a dive and like purposely get one wrong so that he didn't get the final one and then mess everything up. But then the other kids comes in, and by chance the first one he picks is the loot, and then he knew where the other 2 ones were. So it's total bullshit.
oh, totally. But that kid really was smart.
He was super smart.
So, like, he kind of deserved it. But basically, like, that whole round is kind of bullshit. Like, it's just, like, bad luck to, like, not get all of them.
Right.
And then you just missed the last one, and you already told the other person where all the stuff is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, that's a bummer. But at the end of the day, Nathan Chen or whatever. Wait, that's a skater. It was something like that. No, Arthur Chen.
I think that's the Jeopardy guy.
Oh, my God. This is racist. I'm just like spitballing Asian people's name. I know it's awful. No, but he was really cute. This little Chinese kid. So anyway, so he gets so he wins and he moves on to the next round. So they do this cool thing where they're like, this phone rings, and this phone is in this like cool box that's like painted. It says like Acme on it. It's like this old fashioned telephone. So the guy's like, "Hey, it's the chief. It's the chief's for you."
No,
And then
it's the
it's the criminal. So the criminal
behind bars.
Yeah, is behind bars. And
Their
so
one
basically,
phone call they use.
yeah. So every time they always rat out poor Carmen Sandiego, and they're like, "Carmen's in whatever," and they give you kind of like a clue, and you
Well, they just say the country. She's in Asia.
in Africa, like whatever. So, and then right before this, okay, so the grand prize for this show, if you win, is anywhere you want in North America. Okay, so you're like a little kid, and you're like, where would I want to go in North America? So they do this thing right before you do your last round that you get a portfolio, and you get to decide where in the world you want to go. So you have to write it down then. And Rockapella sings, "Where do you want to go? Chicka wow wow wow, chicka woo." We're starting out in sync. We cannot be an acapella.
I'm not good at it.
So anyway, so he writes down this little thing in the portfolio, and then he's like, "Okay, Carmen's in." In this case, it was Asia. So like, let's rank what we think would be like the easiest to hardest of those like world maps. So what happens is like, The final winner, there's a a continent map on the ground, and they tell you, they like yell out a country, and you have to run, and you have these like little light sensors and like put it on where you think the country is. If you get it right, the light goes on. If you get it wrong, you can try one more time, but if not, like you just move on to the next one. And you need to get 8 countries right in 45 seconds.
It's not a lot of time.
A lot of time. Almost nobody makes it. That's why it's like the grand prize thing. But so, what do you think? Easiest to hardest? 6 continents. I know there's 7, but Antarctica they wouldn't do.
From my memory, I've only ever remembered Asia and Africa.
I feel like
maybe
it's always
Europe.
Asia and Africa.
Because there's not a lot. There is a lot to do with North America because you do have Central America in there, and then like the islands and stuff. So maybe South America. Remember that too? I
saw the North America a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think South America would be pretty easy. That was always the continent that I could always ace in the geography bee. We get like a blank map and you have to fill in the
South
countries.
America?
Yeah.
I think I'm decent at that.
Yeah.
And I'll say actually North America.
There's only like 12 countries, so we're like, it's fine.
But North America would be challenging because they probably wouldn't do obviously the 3 main ones It'd be all the Central American ones or all the islands, which are really hard. Whenever I do I used to be really bored at work a couple years ago, and I would print out blank maps like 6th grade style and like write in all the countries as like a test because I was trying to like get better at geography.
Sporkle quiz like that does that.
I know, I was going old school. But yeah, so Central America and those islands, like no joke. And then I think Europe wouldn't be so bad. Like that would be fine.
No, yeah. But
Asia and Africa.
Wow.
Africa would definitely be my hardest. I still am very fuzzy about a lot because, a lot of the countries are kind of similar.
And the other thing about this is that they give you a possibility of these 30 countries you would go to, and they bring up a map on the television and they highlight each country. So you have to watch like 30 countries in a row. So you could like just pay really close attention to that and remember it from that. But really the only way to win this is if you hardcore study geography, right? So the kid in this one got Asia. We think that he definitely crammed really hard for this because he got all of them with I think he missed one and he got it the second time. So I was blown away. Well, and these aren't like China,
no,
Japan, no, it's like Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Oman,
and what really strikes me about this like final thing and what seems so hard is that it's a flat map. So I'm not even sure like you would really able to tell where stuff was by looking at it from that angle. I mean, you always look at maps bird's eye view. Right. I mean, it's kind of I don't even know how they do it at all. There must be maybe weird. There's a monitor or something that the kids see that like we don't see.
Feel like I remember watching a lot where they almost got it, but because they have to run back and grab those light posts, I feel like that takes up so much time, and I wish they would have come up with a better system for that.
Where he was out of shape.
Yeah, and but I mean, does he need to be in shape? This is a geography show. Like I don't know if that was necessary.
All the nerds.
But so this guy did it with like maybe 5 seconds to spare. It was a great moment for Sweetie and I. We cheered, we cried, we laughed. Then Greg comes over and reveals where he wants to go, and he chose Los Angeles.
Yeah,
which
I guess I'm like definitely California,
but would I pick LA? I don't know. I would put Hawaii for sure.
Good one.
I have just always wanted to go there, and it's just probably something I'm never going to be able to afford. So I would have put that.
I probably wouldn't do somewhere in the United States. I mean,
that's the other thing.
Think big. Think big.
I'd be like,
some cool country in Central America, Canada, like a different country. I don't know. I'd be like, oh, sweet. Wouldn't it be amazing if like they did that and like one kid was like, Nebraska
or like Delaware.
Hi, I'm in Delaware. So that's the game. So like there's a couple kind of great, funny, nostalgic, out of date things now that I think are like awesome. So one of them was that like the time travel option, sort of transportation option is modeming.
I did not get that because didn't we have modems back then?
Yeah, that's why.
And they were like, this is such crazy technology that you can beam yourself up through the thing.
That's how you would like send stuff. It was almost like a fact. I mean, it's like let's fax ourselves there. Let's fax ourselves there.
Yeah, that was funny though.
Yeah, and then maybe that's it. Well, other than the prizes, and I love going over the prizes.
So my random things that I loved about this movie were like the props, right?
Sure.
So the chief has her own little office, and my favorite, like, I don't know why I love this so much, but my fucking favorite thing is that she has these like case files behind her, which are like binders or books, and the spine of each one of those is one of the goons. And I just love like the way that looks. And I used to be like, oh, I wish I could take one of those out and look at it. And, like,
what's in there?
There's always like one goon that they never feature as much. And like it's like the purple one. I forget which person that is. But it's funny too that you said that they always rat Carmen out. And I'm like, why does she keep using that? Because in other episodes, like she'll use what's her name? Blah, blah, Brute.
Eartha Brute.
She'll use her again. I'm like, okay. Stop trusting
It's hard
her.
to find good help these days.
I know.
Yeah, I agree with all that. All the little touches are so great. Like we said, the chief lady is amazing. Did you figure out what her name was?
Oh, yes. And
So she has since died. Very sad. She had a cerebral hemorrhage, we found out, in early 2000s?
Yep.
But apparently she was like a big Broadway like theater actress, and you can totally tell because that woman's delivery and her like projection is like off the freaking chart.
Yep.
She's so animated. She's so great. Her voice is amazing. Love that bitch. Miss you.
Her name is Lynn Thigpen.
Miss you. R.I.P. You're the best part of the show by far. Yeah. And you like let little girls and girls of color being like, yeah, I can be the fucking chief of police.
Yes.
Amazing.
So good.
Yeah, so great. Not like too thrilled about the host. I never liked him. He rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, he talks way too fast, first of all. Where I'm like, do the
Which
kids
might
even
be
know
his,
what
like,
he's saying?
thing.
I know, but it's a little like the show is already hard, okay? Yeah. We don't need to talk a mile a minute. I found out that he is the voice of Mayor Bob White and Doug, which I was really excited about. So I was like, oh yes, he is that's definitely him. There's these weird like side bits on this show that I had no recollection of.
Which
he like
they should just cut out.
Pretends to be a doctor, and then they find a way to like insert this other contest where you send a postcard in, and
which
like,
I definitely sent in the postcard. So like you're supposed to like keep track of like all the thieves. What do they call those? Goons. Loot, warrant, crook, all the crooks, and then like what they stole, and then you wrote down like all the ones for that week, and then sent in the postcard, and then you got a free Carmen Sandiego t-shirt. But they would reveal who got the t-shirts like on the TV. They would like flash your name, like Emily Dumas, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, or whatever they'd put.
Cape Cod, Massachusetts,
Eastham, Massachusetts. But I was saying to Sweetie, I was like, we're watching these like 30 years later. And wouldn't that be awesome if like a name flash of like a kid we knew?
Yeah, be amazing.
I know.
But it'd have to be like like not a normal name. We'd
Yeah.
be like, what?
And then if I was good friends with them, I'd immediately text them and be like, where is your Carmen Sandiego t-shirt? I need to know.
Yeah. So the prizes. Okay. So when the third place winner goes out, she gets a pretty good bundle of prizes.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good swag.
Good swag bag. I wrote them down too.
Okay. Number one. I mean, this is a givey. Atlas.
I mean, use it. Basically, what they're saying
do they need one?
Right, well, basically, the chief is saying, like, use this, brush up, we'll see you in 6 months. Like, you need to do better.
No, just like Jeopardy. You can only be on one.
Yeah. So, Atlas. Second thing, Carmen Sandiego official hat.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Cool. Next.
Carmen Sandiego t-shirt.
Everyone, they're giving out these shirts,
which
like,
they give to
willy-nilly,
free. So it's
yeah.
like, hey,
is that a prize?
National Geographic
Geo
World magazine, which was like the kid version
which was
of
for kids.
National Geographic.
And then the piece de resistance.
Okay, so this was third place. I just wrote down cool pen.
It's called a stealth pen quarter. Okay. So it was basically like a pen that you could record voices on. I don't think you could record much of a voice, but again, this was in the early 90s.
Voice recorders were a big deal
right.
back then.
So that was exciting.
Top Boy?
Or you could just like record people, like, so someone could be like using your pen, and then you're like, I'm going to record this conversation. Yeah. But it was probably
I remember that was
got
really
nothing.
Cool.
So that it did seem cool. Second place, same prizes in that first part of the bundle, but last piece de resistance prize for this one are 2 secret senders. So these were I had a version of this. I think it was called like a Casio like secret diary or something, and it was an electronic diary. And the best part of it was if your friend got one too, you could send messages to each other. So this is early text messaging, but it was so revolutionary when this came out that my friend Izzy had the same thing that I did, and we sent messages to each other, and we were like, "This is fucking
Did you have to be close
amazing."
by?
Yes, you did have to be like a little close, but and you needed like a password. It was like kind of ridiculous, but I thought it was the coolest thing, and I was like, "Wow, this is the future."
Yep,
And
primitive
now,
text messaging.
Can you believe,
I mean,
like
it's kinda
looking
cool.
back at that is like, wow,
Yeah.
we've come a long way.
So does the first place winner? It doesn't like get all those and the trip, right?
Maybe I wouldn't be surprised.
They
Just
probably get
giving
at
all
least
that
like
stuff.
the minor swag. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure they get all like the wearable stuff. And not that kid needed an atlas, man. He was a brain.
Oh yeah. My
that
my
was cool.
super magic diary is what it's called, and it also had like games or something.
Yeah.
It was fun. I loved that thing. But yeah, and then the trip. Yeah, so pretty cool, pretty interesting prizes. More educational, I would say, with some like cool gadgets thrown in. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it just looked like a lot of fun, and I always wanted to be on it. Even though, like I said, I was not good at geography. Also, like, oh wait, well, this is really about a spelling bee, but maybe I should talk about it anyway. So, in elementary school, 5th grade, we did a geography bee with the Council on Aging. Do you remember this? Did you do it?
Well, spelling bee, yes.
Yeah, so we did a geography bee too, and I remember I got out for spelling Antarctica wrong. Boo!
It's a hard one.
That
I
is
got
hard.
out for spelling receive wrong because I was like I before E except after C, but I forgot about that. So I spell the word receive E-I-V-E. Sorry, no. I-E. I put the I before the E. I like misunderstood that saying. And the old man next to me like thought I got it right, and he was like, "Yep, that's it." And I was like, "Yes." And then they were like, "Wrong." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah.
Well, the spelling bee was the worst because we like did like a final round to like who was going to make it to the spelling bee, but it was like literally the whole class except for like 3 people. So I like for some reason like made that mistake, and then I was out. And then it was like literally me and like a couple of kids in like the sped class who were like out and couldn't even participate. And I was like literally one of the smartest people in the
bullshit.
classroom. It was Miss Hensler who like hated me.
We all got to go in
right?
ours, I
like
think.
why wouldn't people? Ugh,
Because it was like
so
on
annoying.
the team. Yeah.
She was such an asshole.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. But also I remember a spelling bee where I spelled sandwich wrong.
Like a witch with a hat on.
No, I spelled it SANW. Wait, how are you supposed to say it?
SANDWICH.
Yeah, so I left out the D because
Okay.
I was like, it can't be sandwich. There's not sand in the witch. Like I was like, I was like, it's not sand, and then so I didn't make that one either.
Yeah.
Obviously, whatever, guys. I can spell really well now. Maybe not pronounce things correctly, but anyway. So yes, Carmen Sandiego was a great game. I thought it was awesome. Again, another PBS winner.
You know what I was amazing at was state capitals.
Wow.
I aced that. We had a state capital like B in 5th grade again, and I was like the top dog, right? I knew all those capitals except I got up there for like the final thing, and I froze up for Minnesota, which was one of the ones that I remembered
tough.
specifically because I had a way to remember it, right? Minnesota, minister, religion, St. Paul. So I totally froze up, and then my like sort of crush, Alex Carlson, like looked at me and he mouthed the right answer to me, which was totally cheating. But I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, St. Paul. So I definitely cheated, but whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I love that shit. But yeah, good show. So hard. I value it. I think it was a great show. So this show was created, like we said, because of the thing. But I believe the computer game came before.
Oh, okay.
this
Yeah, we
show.
had the computer game, which I loved. And
Which
I kind of want
was
to
so
play
much
right
fun,
now.
and it was so hard again. And I'd like to go back and play that to see if it really was as hard as
Yeah.
we thought it was.
There were such cool touches to that computer game. And I wish I could like remember it, but it was just even like more like investigating. I don't know. It just had more of these like really cool
and you
little
like you
touches.
talk to all these people and you gather clues.
Yes, yeah. So you had to do like more stuff.
And there were there were all different places you could have chosen to go, and then it turned out to be the wrong place. And I think that was the rub for me. Is that like I always chose the wrong place. So that's why it was so hard, but it was so cool. I loved it. Ugh, so much fun. And then recently we heard they're bringing the show back for Netflix. 6.
Yeah,
you said?
something
With Gina Rodriguez as Carmen, which I think is so cool.
That's
So I'm curious to see what that's going to be like, what the kind of gist of that will be. Because it's not going to be a game show; it's going to be like an actual show.
Because she is a pretty cool character, and again, like kind of cool that it's like a woman villain leading crime boss. So like, did a lady like create this show or what?
Maybe. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, really good Halloween costume. I remember seeing a lot of Carmen's in college, and I was like, "That is so cool."
Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, love it, loves it. So yeah, seek out some episodes on YouTube. Get educated. Relive the wonderful magic of Carmen Sandiego, and check it out.
Yeah,
check it out. So yes,
I was gonna wait. I'm gonna do the sign off.
Oh, well, why did you point? Are you pointing at something? Do I have to give you something?
No, because I was like gonna do the sign off that they do.
Oh, okay.
And he's like,
can I do my spiel first?
Yeah, do spiel first.
So
I'm ready.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Give me a chance.
You can find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thanks for listening.
Do it, Rockapella. Bye, everybody.
Bye.